Welcome back to Dragon Army Books. My name is Dustin, and today I want to do something different. We haven't done this before. Typically, whenever I'm talking to you on a video like this, it's kind of more structured. I've planned out what I'm going to say, kind of my talking points, and then go from there. For this video, I wanted to do something a little bit less structured, an unstructured conversation about a beloved science fiction series that is applauded by many, that frankly, I think is completely overrated. This is a positive channel, and the majority of my videos are going to be positively focused about books and concepts that I like and that I like talking about. I don't want this to be a channel that I kind of pile on authors or books or other things that other people like. But from time to time, I do want to have conversations about something that I don't quite see eye to eye with or on about other things that people truly do enjoy. And so this is one of them. This is a conversation about a series called the Murderbot Diaries that a lot of people enjoy and that I think is overrated. The author of the series is Martha Wells, and it was published by Tor. And it's a series of short stories, science fiction short stories or novellas. I believe that there is one full-length novel in this series. And it's following a protagonist, a single character, not a human, but a robot, a sec unit, a security unit, who has removed its governor module, which makes it have more human-like emotions and feelings and decision-making skills and abilities. On top of that, this sec unit enjoys soap operas and doesn't really like humans. In fact, it's called Murderbot. That's why the series is called Murderbot Diaries, and it's as if we're reading the diaries or the logs of this sec unit, of this Murderbot. Now, the first book is All Systems Red, and then it goes on from there. Let me be clear from the start here. I have only read the first 3 books in this series. So maybe hardcore fans are going to come on here and say, no, you don't know what you're talking about. Read more and then you'll get it or understand. But listen, they're short stories. They do not require much of me. All 3 of these books I've read in a matter of days, like just a few sittings. And so it's not much of an ask for me to read these books, so I should be able to get through the entire series no problem. I've read worse stuff. It's not that it's bad, and I'll get to that. But after reading one book, you can watch my video review on All Systems Red. I said, you know what? Listen, it's not my favorite, but I want to see what Martha Wells does with the second book. So I read the second book and I was like, listen, I'm still not getting it. Let me try one more time. And I read the third book and I forced myself to get through it. And I was just like, you know what? It's just not worth reading for me. However, this series has had books that have won the Nebula Award for Best Novella, the Hugo Award for Best Novella, and it was nominated for the Philip K. Dick Award. So why is it receiving all of this recognition? Why do so many people like this? I want to talk about that, and I want to talk about why I don't think it necessarily meets those criteria, the levels of adoration that it receives. Let's get straight into it. The first thing that kind of bothered me was the simple or the basic formula, the structure of these books. I think it can be done well, especially with these short stories, but the rinse repeat method here in these first 3 books is: here's Murderbot. Murderbot befriends a new AI. Murderbot befriends some new humans so that Murderbot can go along on a mission to a planet or to an environment and gets caught up in this drama. And then at the end, Murderbot saves the day or escapes or whatever and realizes that Murderbot hates humans. Murderbot would just like to be alone with its own Murderbot feelings and emotions and watch its soap operas. That's really the rinse repeat of books 1, 2, and 3. I think a simple basic formula can work, again, especially with a structure like this. I kind of like this concept that this book, and there's a few others, especially in the sci-fi realm, of authors writing these shorter stories, writing writing a lot of them, producing them all within a short amount of time of one another. There's that other series, Vander someone, that did another thing like this with science fiction stories. And I like this concept. I really, really do. I just haven't found one that I've latched onto yet. The problem I have in particular with this formula is that we're getting the exact same thing book after book after book. I feel like in 3 books, we do not have much advancement in plot whatsoever. And I think that can even be done with this new method of short story, and I don't think that it's done here. Secondly, because we're seeing through the eyes of Murderbot, this rogue robot gone bad, which would be a much more interesting story. We're so limited to what details we're given, and the world building lacks significantly. We do not get much of this world at all, of the advancement in technology, of human advancement and progression. We don't get anything outside of what Murderbot is saying and choosing to focus on. And it just lacks here. There's nothing interesting about this world or about the environments. There's so little of interest here that really, again, I just feel like it's copy paste from book to book. Oh, we're on a new planet. Okay, but we're not told really anything new about it. We see such a small fraction of that planet, really just like one structure on each planet. There's nothing new being added to the world book after book after book, and I think that's a sin. And then thirdly, I think this is the cardinal sin of all. I think this is the biggest problem. It is that this story cannot be carried by one protagonist alone. We have one character. We only have one character. I get it. Other characters might pop back up later. But here, 3 books in, the only consistent, persistent, reoccurring character that we get on screen is Murderbot. And Murderbot is just not interesting enough of a character for us to care about. I get it. Some people love Murderbot, but even what we see or know about Murderbot is told to us. We're told that Murderbot hates humans, but we don't really see Murderbot often hating humans. We're told even about this cute quip, right, that Murderbot loves it's soap operas, but we don't even get Murderbot interacting with or learning from these soap operas. We get told these things. Even the supporting cast of characters, there are none. In the first book, I tried to write down all of the characters. I often do this when I read a story because I want to be able to come back to these characters and know and learn and grow with them. At the end of the first book, I was like, I hope it set it up in such a way that's like, I hope we're going to see these characters again. And then in the second book, a whole new cast of secondary characters that I didn't even bother to write down because Murderbot doesn't even take the time to really describe them. Only in passing do we get their gender, right? Or any kind of description of them. So every additional character is just like block, copy, paste character. I'm going back to the same thing over and over. Copy, paste, rinse and repeat. And Murderbot itself is not enough to carry this story for me. If I cared enough about Murderbot, maybe I would be able to go forward with this series. But there are some characters that I kind of cared about in the first book, one in particular, human characters, because Murderbot cared about that character. And I know Murderbot talked about this character again in books 2 and 3, but we never got to connect with this character again. And because the AI and the humans are a rotating cast of characters in such short stories, we don't get enough time spent with them to give any kind of care or affection towards them, and Murderbot just can't carry it alone. All of that being said, if you are looking for a quick, easy, light read with a somewhat interesting lead character in that it's not a human and that we've got a few quips and quirks here that are somewhat interesting, then this story might be for you. It is not for you if you want any kind of depth. If you want any kind of depth of narrative, of character, of plot progression, of world building, then this story is not for you. If you are a character-driven reader, if you want a growing, developing story, then I would say to pass this up. Even though they are quick reads, I just don't think that they're enjoyable enough. The story isn't evolving. The characters aren't interesting enough. I've already said it all. It's for some. It wasn't for me. Might be for you. After watching this video, maybe you'll have a better understanding whether or not you should read the Murderbot Diaries. I know that this is going to stir up some conversation, so please, let's dialogue in the comments down below. And listen, it's okay if you like the Murderbot Diaries. And listen, it's okay if I didn't. Let's talk about it in the comments below. And one other thing, if you know of this kind of formula of these short stories that are being released, and there's like 4, 5, 6 of them in the fantasy realm, let me know about it if there's any good ones, because I like the formula. I just haven't found any that I enjoy yet. And as always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch and like this video. If you haven't yet, click subscribe, join the Dragon Army. We're getting close to our first 1,000 subscribers, and that's quite exciting. And we'll see you in the next one.